What's up, people? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Structure Live. We're doing our live post show of House of the Dragon,
Yeah,
episode 7, Driftmark. How's everybody doing? What's good, Mystery? How was your week?
my week was crazy. It was a lot of people in Florida. My condolences go out to the people southwest that had a catastrophe. We were in Hurricane 2. Had to shelter in place and all that not so fun stuff. How about you, Lion? How did your week go?
We're both in Florida, so we definitely were poised to get hit by the hurricane. We were very lucky.
Yeah.
We did have to evacuate here, so that's why we couldn't do too much content in the week for the show. We were dealing with that, and hopefully, everything came out very good, and we're ready to go today. We had a great episode of House of the Dragon, so I'm very excited about this week. I was looking forward all week to this. All week.
Ooh-wee. Oh man, yeah, this was the week. Actually, I think this was a week, but actually next week is going to be even bigger. I'm not going to say nothing, but I
Next
just
week is a
know.
week.
Yeah, I just know. But yeah, this was big. This was huge.
This episode had a lot of focus on, and looks like the kids were front and center from the beginning of the episode, and that's
Yeah,
what was very interesting.
like Whitney
That the
Houston
kids,
said, I believe the kids are our future.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, the kids were definitely in front and center. Actually, let me share a little image here. I made a quick video, a quick short earlier today.
Yeah.
Um, and this was let's see here. To the tab. There we go. So these are the kids that were front and center in this episode.
Hmm.
We have just because I made this short earlier today just to make sure we keep the names straight,
Oh my
because
gosh.
it can be slightly difficult to keep
No more
up with the
characters,
names
please.
of all these characters.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, because the names are very similar. That's what's curious about it.
Yes.
I'm gonna pull up my cheat sheet as well because I struggle with some of the names here. Let's see here.
You got
Oh, we
Aegon.
have on the top. We have Aegon Targaryen the second. This is
Hmm.
Viserys and Allison's son. So
Yep.
next to him we have Helena Targaryen, who is again Viserys and Allison's kid, and then we
Hmm.
have Aemon Targaryen, who
That's
played
right.
a big role in this episode, is the youngest of their bunch. Below them, we
Are
first
the
in red.
bastards. Sorry.
No, they call the kids bastards. Come on. So below them,
That's
we
what they said
have.
in the episode. That's all.
I
Go
know,
ahead.
I know. So below them, we have Jacaerys, which is the taller one. He's the firstborn of Rhaenyra. He'll be the one that, if Rhaenyra was to be queen, and then she went to pass away, he would end up being the prince or the king at that time. And then his younger brother Lucerys, who
Hmm.
another one that played a big role, had a big moment in this episode. Now the other the girls that we have here are gonna be on the left. We have Rhaena Velaryon, sorry, we have Rhaena Targaryen, who's Damon's and Laena's daughter, and then next to her we have Baela Targaryen, who's another one of Damon's daughter.
Yeah.
And we see how everything panned out this in this episode with all the kids. But that's how you keep the names straight. I have the shortest on our channel. I tried to make a little family tree just to make sure we keep the names straight.
We.
And guess what? Next week, based on what we saw in the pre, we got another time skip. So these kids
Yeah.
are gonna grow up really fast.
And we got
For
new
sure.
faces, new places.
New faces and new places. I also
Yeah.
have a poll going on, which we're gonna discuss at the end of the episode. The poll talks about who won this episode. Was it Aemon? Was it Aemon and Rhaenyra? Or was it Lane or Velaryon? Who won the episode? Well, let's see what you guys think over there on that. So let's remove this here. Let's go back to us. So to start out with the episode, let's get to it. So the show opened up with the funeral of Lena
Lena.
Velaryon.
Yeah.
They got going
Lenora.
right away. So
Yeah.
everybody was gonna be at one place finally. and that's what's interesting about it. Because normally we haven't seen Rhaenyra, Damon, Allison, Viserys, all the kids together, only in one place. The Velaryon, everybody. So something was
wedding
happen based on that.
Yeah.
So what was your thought on that first scene when we see the funeral? We see that Lena is being thrown into the sea as is customary for the Velaryons, and we finally have that look from across the room between Rhaenyra and a grieving Daemon Targaryen.
My first initial thought was respect, because Lenora was such a big figure. I mean, symbol of strength, and she represented her house well. So everybody was there to pay respect, and that was big. I think. For this particular episode, but like as you said, since there's so many people, there was something that was going to happen. I did not suspect this. I knew that a dragon was going to get stolen, which is kind of gangster and kind of crappy at the same time, but I didn't know what else to expect. What were your thoughts, Slime?
You know what? I have to say that I called it last week. I said, Aemon, my man, got made fun with a pig last episode. So this guy is gonna man up, and he's gonna go ahead and claim a dragon for himself. And what did Aemon go ahead and do? This kid is fearless.
Yep.
He even loses an eye, and we're gonna talk about him losing an eye. And he doesn't care. He just, you know what? I'm gonna roll with the punches. Which
from zero to hero, just that quick. How you like me now?
For sure. And you know what I thought it was funny as well is when Rhaenyra and Allison see each other, Allison is so bitter. Like, we went from being the sweetest girl in the first few episodes, and she's such a bitter lady right now. But she's in that, she has the stress that at some point, when Rhaenyra becomes queen, she's gonna start killing her kids. I mean, herself. She's gonna put her family in peril, and she's so bitter about it that when she looked back, the look she gave to Allison is like I hate you. Like, she doesn't even hide it anymore. What are your thoughts on that in regards to how Allison, from the get-go, she's just so mad at Rhaenyra?
I think that it's very telling, and also I think that one of the biggest forces behind that is, what's up, Sharper Coder Blocker? I keep on saying blocker. Block, my bad. I think that it's I lost my train of thought. It's big because her father's back. That's what I was going to say. Otto's back. He's the king hand. He's in the king's ear. He's in his daughter's ear, Allison, and he's definitely putting a sense of urgency on that situation. Get a handle of it now, and you can see that in the kids. What are your thoughts, Lion?
Yeah, so the plan that they had last week was, the plan that they were forced into by Larry Strong, was that Larry's move whatever he had to move to eliminate his brother Harwin Strong and the father of Rhaenyra's kids, and to eliminate his own father, Lord Strong, the Hand of the King. This way, Viserys, who's not the strongest guy, he doesn't have the strongest morals. This guy's just rolls with the punches. Went ahead and went to what he knows, called Otto. Hey, Otto, you want to be back as a hand? And that was a very subtle gesture, how the show just showed Otto looking back at his pin as Hand of the King.
I'm back, bitches. That's basically how it was. That's how it went down. And I mean, second to the king, really. I mean, he can play puppet master again, especially in the weakened state that the king is in now.
Yeah, the king is not doing very well. This king is I have to give it to him again. Every week I say the same thing. You know, this guy is not gonna make it one more episode, but you know what? Everybody's dying around him except for the king. You gotta give it to him. Long. This guy just keeps rolling with the punches. Kudos to you, Viserys. Kudos to you.
Hey, who wants to take that back for next week?
I don't know. I'm not sure who will.
Next week. I know exactly how it's going to go.
Oh, wait a second here. And so the other part that I want to talk about, we have Jacaerys. There was a scene where Jacaerys Velaryon, quote unquote, strong. He was talking to his mother, Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra said, "Hey, look at your cousins over there. They're sad. How about you do this? How about you go ahead and offer some comfort to them?" And he goes, "Hey, I should get the same. I should get the same treatment, since Harwin Strong is been murdered, is dead, and he's my dad essentially." So he basically confirms two things for us. Confirms that Sir Harwin didn't make it, which I was hoping, because we did not see a body or see the action happen, that Harwin made it somehow.
Yep.
But he also confirms that the kids are, or at least him, he's very aware who his real father is, and there's some kind of emotional attachment to that.
Yeah, that was big. That was big. Actually, that kind of escaped me, so that's huge.
Yeah, I noticed that was one scene that kind of struck me. Like, wow, that the kids are. That's one thing that I can say. They definitely put front and center for this particular scene, and that was very telling. Um, we also saw here. Let's see here. Uh, says I'm proud of being the new. Okay, so there was another comment made that was very telling of the situation here.
Hmm.
Because Larry's kind of forced the hand of Allison to roll with the new plan, having her dad installed as Hand of the King. And Larry's keeps staring at Allison like a little puppy, just like, okay, what's next? So
Yeah,
Baelish of him, right?
yeah,
And Kristen Cole goes, Larry just keeps staring a hole in you. What's going on here? He should be grieving, etc., etc. And she goes, "Don't worry about him. He's not sad. He's just proud that he's now the new lord of
yeah.
Harrenhal." So Kristen
That's
is already coming up, realizing that this is another ally in our camp, because Kristen is into the whole thing. He's still bitter. He's the saltiest guy in Westeros.
yeah. Seriously, he's the most emo guy in Westeros, and I think that was a good way for the writers to drop the new status of Laris on us. And that he did get that house, which was kind of obvious, but it's official now. He did get that title.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I've been doing a lot of research about the show and about some of the landmarks. So the thing with Harrenhal from the beginning of the lore of this show or these books, it's been given to many lords, and for whatever reason, whoever gets Harrenhal always dies.
That's
If
interesting.
you think forward in Game of Thrones, Lord Baelish ended up becoming the Lord of Harrenhal,
Yeah,
but he didn't really want it, right? He didn't really want to be the Lord of Harrenhal.
it's a good
And we
point.
saw how Peter Baelish ended, at least in the show, he ended that way. So I think that was very interesting that they keep passing around Harrenhal. I'll be honest, if that's the case, I don't want Harrenhal.
Yeah,
Why would I
exactly.
want to be the
Like,
Lord of
nah, I'm
Harrenhal?
good, yo. I'll continue being a peasant. I'm good. Thank you.
Like, no, you know what? I'll stay in my little cubby over here. Here's my
Hmm.
little corner. I don't need that big castle where everybody
Yeah.
keeps dying. That's not for
Mm-mm.
me. So let's skip that. Now, the next scene brings us to the kids together again. So we have Aegon, who's this kid is something else. Aegon the second is talking to his brother, and he's commenting on his sister. We see Helena playing with a
Ah, yeah.
spider.
I see. Okay.
And the two times that we see Helena, she's always playing with some kind of creature, some kind of critter.
That's
So we
right.
know that she likes bugs, or she likes those weird things. And he goes, I can't believe she's related to us. I can't believe that's my sister. And Aemon makes a comment like, you're gonna have to marry her. And he goes, well, if I wish I didn't have to. Aemon will be like, you know what? I'll jump on it. I'll do it if it was my duty. This is
Because
telling. Go ahead.
yeah, no, it is because he likes. What was it? Aegon made a comment about the spider with the
Aegon
long
made a
legs.
comment about
Yeah,
Helena. Yeah.
yeah, and the fact that he likes long legs as well, or that he likes legs as well,
That's
and
your
then
sister, brother. Come on, man. Like,
exactly, yeah. So now we know that Aegon is of age now. So there's that, that teenage aggression in
I mean,
him.
we saw his aggression on the last on the last episode on that window. He let his
Yeah,
aggression be felt by the peasants downstairs when he got up on that window and just I don't want to be the
let
fruit
it out.
guy. I just imagine like a poor guy
Get
just
the poison
pushing his
out.
fruit cart. And he just gets like, oh, is
Uh,
this like is this a pigeon? It was not a pigeon. You're just a peasant. And this
you
is
gotta
what
walk with
happened.
the umbrella.
Man,
We walk by the castle.
you gotta work with, gotta get something. Yeah, he probably thought it was a raven that did it to him. But So yeah, this is what happens with Aegon.
Watch
But
out
what's
below.
telling of Aemon is that comment that Aemon makes
Mhm.
shows you where the mentality of Aemon is. Aemon is taking things very seriously. He's very much becoming a high tower. He's taking duty to himself very seriously. He has a chip on his shoulder because everybody's making fun that he doesn't have a dragon.
Yeah.
So he's kind of making himself into a reliable family member for what we can see in this episode. We see how that develops further.
He's going through a phase of hardening, as I like to call it. In the oppressed becomes the oppressor. He got bullied, and now he's about to, collect on some taxes and bully some more people. And we see that in the fact that I think it's the next scene, so I'm gonna jump to it. Line is that he stole the dragon. I mean, how much balls do you have to have for that? Right?
That's way far. That's way far. Let's not spoil it. The stealing the dragon that happens.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, that happens quite a while later. What did happen next is a scene where we have Corlys talking to Lucero, and I think I have an image of that as well. This is it. Let me see here.
Okay.
I'm getting these scenes straight from HBO. I'm kidding. From HBO. There we go.
There, I was blocked.
There it is. So we have a scene where Corlys is talking to Lucero. Lucero is the youngest of Rhaenyra and quote-unquote Laenor Harwin Strong kids. And we see that Lucero is telling him, you know what? Your brother one day will be king, but you're my little boy. You're going to be the Lord of Driftmark. Driftmark is that castle where they're at, the home of the Velaryon.
Mm-hmm.
And let's keep it real. It's like everybody's blind or don't not want to see on this show that these kids don't look like them, right? They definitely look very strong boys. But Corlys doesn't care. He's letting that skip over his head, and he's trying to embrace the situation where he's in because he's looking for legacy, as he'll talk about later.
Legacy. Exactly.
What are your feelings about Corlys? I feel like the Velaryons are getting done dirty in this show so far. We haven't seen much of Corlys. With first couple episodes, we saw some of him. This is probably the most screen time I think we've seen of the Velaryons. What do you think?
When we see screen time on the Velaryons, it's very strategic. It's to continue to plot. And we don't see much of them otherwise, as evidence in this episode. They talk about the son. They talk about his son, more specifically, that he doesn't have a blood heir, and they talk about history as well, which we'll get into, blah blah blah. But yeah, in general, they haven't got much burn, and there's a few other scenes which we'll wait to get to, but he's in the script for a purpose. It's not just a pastime. So yeah, he doesn't get much burn.
There is a rumor that there might be a prequel for this show with the Velaryons, or a show about the Velaryons, which I'll be very interesting. I think they have a very interesting story to tell.
Yeah.
So that would be something that would be pretty cool to see. Let me remove this image from here and
work for AMC. I mean, you seen all the shows on AMC that they got from the spinoffs from The Walking Dead to the Breaking Bad and everything else like that. This is a whole new format.
The Walking Dead, the Talking Dead, the Walking Dead, the Crawling Dead,
pre-dead. The Walking Alive, and then Disney as well with Star Wars, and I think that's going to be the formula going forward because everybody wants to know about their favorite shows. So why not give us more of the storyline?
It makes a lot of sense. If you have a winning formula, look at what the House of the Dragon's doing. We have a situation where when people like something, they want more of it, and why not give it? So I think this is what we're seeing here, is that all of these companies, why try with a new IP when you know what you have already is going to work, and you can create a universe around it. And if this show has 29 million viewers, if you make another show just like this with more story, there's a big chance of 29 million viewers will just transfer over. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for them to do it. By the way, if you're watching, if you're just checking us out, this is Unstructured. We're doing a live post show of episode 7 of House of the Dragon. Episode 7 is called Driftmark. Go ahead and give the video a like, subscribe if you like our content, share it with your friends, and thank you so much for being. I know you could be somewhere else. Let's continue with the
anywhere in the world.
The episode. That's
but you're
right.
Here with us.
The next scene, we have an awkward look between Aemon and Jacaerys Velaryon. They look at each other like Aemon kind of wanted to offer some sympathy because of the death of Lena, but they kind of like, no, skip it. They move away from each other, kind of bringing up that tension that they have and how that pays off later on in the episode.
Yep.
From there, we see that Lena is drunk in the water, having a hard time. He's halfway to, in the beach, halfway to his knees, to the point that Corley sees this and sends his boyfriend or his squire to go pick him up. Corley's knowing, like, listen, it is what it is. This is my son. I have to accept it. As long as he doesn't embarrass the family, go get him. Go pick him up.
All he cares about is legacy. That's it.
So Corley sends the boyfriend to pick him up, and later on we see how that plays out. Then we have a quick conversation between Viserys and Damon. If we think back, they haven't really talked for a while, for years, because last time they saw each other, from what we can presume, was at Rhaenyra's wedding. So they see each other at Rhaenyra's wedding, but they don't see each other for many years, and he's just talking to his brother. Damon doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. Seems like Damon is more tame, more grown up.
Exactly. I think this particular scene was huge. It was big. It wasn't just the fact that he was more tame. It was that Damon could look his brother in the eye and for once make his brother, Damon, make his brother the king believe that he doesn't give a shit about him. Bottom line, right? Forget my language, but you're about to die. We both know it. We both know what's going on with your grandkids or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't need, and he makes this plain because it's like, say by the kingdom, you can have whatever you need. I don't need you. I already, they want me in another kingdom. They want me in this kingdom. I got kids. I got money. I'm more I
got kids, man.
Exactly. As accomplished as you or more. I don't need you at all. I'm successful. I did big things without taking a throne, and he doesn't. He's coming for the throne now, but at the time, he didn't want the throne. I think this was big because Viserys, for the first time, sort of realized that. It's always been older brother, younger brother. Older brother is the king, has all the power, has all the money. My younger brother gets out of line. I'm gonna talk to him. Blah blah blah. It's changed now. It's changed. The dynamic has changed. What are your thoughts, Lion?
Yeah. So he offered, hey, can you go home, return back to where you belong? And Damon is like, he's not feeling it. He's not having it anymore. He was so eager before to be part of this. Is no longer interested in what Viserys is selling, and maybe this is because Viserys is becoming softer in his old age, or he's just forgetting things, as we see in the episode. That his memory keeps failing him. From there, we have Otto. This is funny. So Otto tries to offer some sympathy to Damon, like, sorry about your wife's death, and he just goes and calls Otto a leech, like. Yes. Stop it! You're just a leech. You're just leeching around. You never like me. You're never gonna be friends.
The funny thing
You're
about
never gonna go out
leeches,
for a beer.
Yeah, the funny thing about leeches, no matter how big the leech grows, there's always room for another meal. Oof. That's
a good one.
That's cold. That's cold blooded. That's cold blooded.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, seriously.
No, I'll get that's a good one. They don't like each other, and I wonder how this is gonna pan out later on in the series. I think we lost Mr. E here for a second, so while he comes back, I do want to show something that I thought it was very interesting about the show. Okay, Mr. E is back. Bear with me here.
I'm back. Yeah, my bad.
There we go. He's back.
Yeah, wrong button. Go ahead.
All right, I keep
Go ahead.
losing you. I was like, what's going on, man?
This
What's going
time it
on?
was my fault. I actually
Let's
clicked
go
the wrong
here.
name.
Let's see
But go
here.
ahead. Yeah.
I have a scene that I want to show, and I think this is very telling of the status of where Viserys is right now. And it's loading right now. So Viserys is being walked out by his people, went to a different location. He walks next to his wife Allison, and he calls it Emma, which is other wife's name. And the Kingsguard behind him goes, "Oh, do you want me to stay and hang out with the Queen Allison to remind him?" He's like, "No, you're here. She already has Crystal." The Knights Guard, Kristen Cole. Kristen Cole is a Lord Commander. He has to remind him of that. So now we see the cracks are happening in the head of Viserys. Viserys is not doing too well. He is struggling with keeping things straight. Maybe he's suffering from some kind of dementia. And as we talked about in the previous episode, he's aging very, very fast. I am very curious to see what the status of this man would be on the next episode. I'm going to say it right now. I don't think he makes it past the next episode.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that again.
He's dead in the next episode is what I'm predicting. Actually, I'm thinking that they're dealing with the fallout and all hell breaks loose. How many episodes are in this series? Is it 8? Because I think this is when it happens.
Yeah, I think there should be 8 or 10 episodes. No, it's 10 episodes. Sorry, it's 10 episodes for the show.
10 episodes.
I thought my poll went up, but I guess the poll that I placed did not go up earlier. So who won the episode? I want you guys to let me know, in your opinion, who do you think won the episode? And guys, feel free to comment. Do you have any questions, anything you want to add on, anything we missed so far in the breakdown? Let us know, and we can review it and go over it together here while I make this poll. So the next scene here, we have Otto. This is interesting. So there is so there's two mirrors here, one with Aegon, one with Aemon. Otto finds Aegon drunk, laying in the steps, and has to like wake him up, shake him up. Listen, this is the guy. This is supposed to be the king at one point, or the prince, right? Let's take you to a place that nobody sees you. So he seems disappointed in Aegon by the way Aegon is acting. But later on, we see how he compliments how Aemon behaves. So he seems to be more akin to how Aegon is taking things and how Aemon is taking things and how Aegon is behaving. What are your thoughts on Aegon's getting drunk on the party, acting a fool?
I mean, can you blame him? If you're going to be possibly, well, actually, I guess I can't. I guess I can blame him, because if it was for sure that he was going to be king and it was set in stone, he really wouldn't have anything to work for. He's just
he's not supposed to be. He doesn't really want it, but
exactly.
We know Allison's plans already.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So he has to work for it. So he needs to be on his best behavior right now. He needs to stay alert and look for weaknesses and look the part. So there's a problem with him doing that for sure.
So from there we have we finally get that scene you were talking about. We have Aemon hears something in the sky and decides to go check out what's going on. And he's looking for that dragon. He's like, you know what? This is my opportunity. You guys made fun of me with the pink dread, with that pig. So now I'm gonna go search for a dragon. I'm gonna claim it for my own. But I don't know how this works, but you think that dragon was for his to claim, or should he definitely wait for his cousins to claim the dragon?
No, this is a big. It's a dominant territorial FU type move. I mean, this derives from the not having a dragon. This derives from being made fun of. This derives from him wanting to be somebody, right? Him wanting to have a dragon, wanting to feel that feeling, wanting to feel like he belongs, that insecurity of not having it. Everybody else has one but him, right? And even
I want one too, mama.
Exactly. Even the illegitimate kids that are going to be kings, they're going to have some. They got some. I don't have one. What's going on? I want to fly like them. I mean, if you had a chance to fly, wouldn't you? And he sees an opportunity, and no one's going to stop him. So this is a sign of him, Eamon, coming of age in this episode. This is a sign of him, take what you want. Ask for forgiveness and not permission. And he didn't even ask for forgiveness after he did it. That's a gangster thing about him. This was a huge moment, which we'll get into, I guess later. I guess in a few, but it was a huge moment. It's very telling because this is sort of him is displaying his dominance and saying, I don't give two F's about this.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, you know what's funny?
What's up, Dash? What
Eamon,
are you confused about?
let's see here. I think he tried to type something and it got cut off. So
Okay.
that happens sometimes when you're trying to type on YouTube. You go ahead and complete your comment again if you could. So you know what was funny? Right now, Eamon is reminding me of a young Damon Targaryen. He seems very bold, very impulsive.
Yeah.
He goes for after what he wants. And I think when he grows up on the next episode with that scar, we're gonna see him be like the loose cannon, probably be the more evil of the bunch. I think. I think Aegon is gonna be a loser.
At that point, he's gotten the license that he needs to be a badass and really not care about anything and just do whatever he wants. If he were to become king, he would be the equivalent of a tyrant, right? He stole a dragon. Not only did he steal a dragon because he didn't have a dragon, but he stole the biggest dragon. So not only do I now have a dragon, but my dragon is bigger than yours. Bow down to me, right? And not only did I steal it, I stole it from your mother. And F you too. That's a big move. That's a big move. He didn't say I'm sorry. He didn't say nothing. He was like, "Oh, that's your bad. You should have claimed it." I did. And he said that the dragon has a new rider. Can you imagine? Can you just imagine? Let's say that your mother had a nice car or whatever, right? And you were raised in that car. Your mother passes away when you're 10 or something like that. But that car is synonymous with great moments in your childhood with your mother. And then at the funeral, one of your relatives hops in that car and takes that car. And it's like, oh, well, your mother's car has a new driver. What? Are you serious right now? Like, and that's why they had that situation that they had.
Now, so Dash Ribro says the Eamon see Damon and Rhaenyra in the beach together.
He was on another part of the beach looking. I thought that too. I rewound it. He was on another part of the beach looking for the dragon. That's all he had eyes for.
Okay, that's good. Because I didn't think he saw that. I thought they had a shot when they kind of panned out. And like, so as if someone was looking at what's happening there. I think the only person that noticed was Otto, but he noticed a little later. As we get to that, we'll discuss it. Now, then we have a scene where Rhaenys is talking to Corlys, and she's upset that her daughter is dead. And one reason she's upset, she's blaming Damon in regards to her daughter dying. Like, if she would have been here, if the best surgeons, the best maesters are gonna be here, she probably would have been all right. Corlys, listen, let's keep it real. They have just in Pentos, they have just as many good doctors or maesters that could have taken care of everything. Was done that's possible. You're putting blame in the wrong guy. I mean, I think she would have been more comfortable. She would have been home, but I don't think that would have made a difference, because it seems that the childbirth in this series is very complex, because I don't think we saw that many deaths of childbirth in the original Game of Thrones. What do you think on that?
I think that's very authentic. I think it's very real. Like, what is it? What do they call the child birth rate? It's only been high and as as good as it is now, and I think it's declined. Don't quote me on that, but whatever. It's only
okay, Doctor Mystery.
Yeah, no, but it's a big deal, and like you hear this, it's only gotten to the point where you could take it for granted. As of just recently, like the last century, right, and more so this century, up until this point in human history, birth rates were very low because there's complications, and even now there's complications, which you hear this amongst women, especially people of color and things of that nature or whatever, because it's more stuff, yada yada. So I think that's very authentic, and I think that's a good story as well.
Yeah, so from there, the conversation goes to a different place. Rhaenys is upset with Corlys as well because Corlys married their kids to the main Targaryen household, and because Corlys is ambitious, he wants his lineage to be remembered as kings and queens at the highest level. That's why he married Rhaenys as well. Rhaenys was supposed to be queen. Tell her, listen, you were supposed to be queen. Your right was denied. Now our kids have the opportunity to do that. Rhaenys is like, listen, this is what you want. I never wanted that. You put our kids in this peril, and this is what's happening. And I think after this episode, Rhaenys and Corlys are gonna have a very tough conversation because she's definitely gonna be upset with Corlys of everything that's happening in regards to this. Let's see what Dash Flipbook is saying here. Let me pull up that
Dash has the realest comment of the night. Yeah, for real. I think we've now equaled all the childbirths that we've seen in Game of Thrones, maybe already in House of Dragons. How many childbirths did we see? Did we see that many in Game of Thrones?
I don't think we saw that many in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I don't. None that were that notable, or at least none that were notable. We saw Gilly had a baby in the middle in the shed, but I don't think there were any that were that notable. I really
hold on,
remember.
but what about when they crossed the wall or whatever, and they went to that no man's land where dude was feeding the babies to the whatchamacallit? We had a few childbirths there. You remember where he's feeding the babies?
He already had kids, or he already had the kids grown.
Okay.
Is that what you're referring to? The guy that was kind of trapping the young? He was.
Yeah. The guy with like all the women. Exactly, that dude. But no, you're right, Dash. I'm good with the childbirth or whatever. I get it. And to be honest with you, if they got another woman, I'm gonna stop watching. I can't watch that. That's too much. That is a whole nother thing.
And not just that, the kids with the time skips, these kids go from episode 1 a baby to episode 3 a full grown adult. So everything is going pretty fast. Like right, I know next week we're gonna see them in their adulthood and how we're gonna see how that conflict has grown and has developed over the years that have passed. Now from there, Rhaenys tells her husband Corlys, listen, I want Driftmark to pass to Baela, Damon and Lyanna's daughter, because they are true Velaryons. They are blood. And Corlys goes, no. You're gonna put more shame on these kids because everyone can see. Everyone can see these kids do not look like the Velaryons. And Rhaenys is like, listen, these kids are not our blood. They are quote unquote bastards. So why should we be inheriting the Baela? This belongs to Baela and Rhaena. So let's do the right thing. And Corlys is something very important to him. He says history doesn't remember blood. History remembers legacy. That's what he said.
It remembers names.
Names. Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. So no, this is huge, and we're almost there, Lion. We're almost there, but this is huge because it shows everybody's agenda, right? What up, Plant-Based Ministries?
What's good, Plant-Based Ministries?
Throw that up on the screen real quick. Throw that up on the screen. I can't wait until the king dies. I think that's next week.
Me too, bro.
Yeah.
Me too. Like this guy, I keep saying it. This guy has survived everybody.
Blow it up. Yeah.
The Greek.
Yeah, it's going to be all mayhem. Like we already know what it is, and we'll get into that part. But it's going to be absolute mayhem. Getting back to Corliss and Rhaenyra, she's about her bloodline. She's about her kids, right? And Corliss is about legacy, and it doesn't matter. So they both have intersecting, but not completely aligned visions. And that's where the problem lies, because Laenor couldn't even, apparently Rhaenyra had said it, they tried to have kids, but they couldn't have kids because he wasn't into it. There wasn't love, so to speak. So
Yeah,
that's
they
why
wanted joy, and they were not enjoying what they were doing, and to them, it's not
exactly.
necessarily about duty; it's about the joy of the act. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
argue with them about that, but I think at their level, I think duty takes precedence based on the stakes that they may be facing.
Yeah, but and here's the thing: if we play out what they were saying, if Rhaenys takes takes the inheritance and gives it to Daemon's kids, because Daemon's kids is going to go through Damon, it's going to go to his kids, right? So that's going to give them more power on his side, and it's going to take power away from Rhaenyra. It's also going to take legitimacy away from Rhaenyra. She's already going to have a contested throne, and the King's Hand, which we saw in the previews. I mean, this is the way that it happened in real life, but the King's Hand is able to sort of wag the dog and align things correctly in the early hours of the death of the king or whatever, and king's indisposed, he can't talk to him and do things behind the scenes. His wife is the queen. He can solidify the throne for her. And things right now are sort of tilted in Alicent's favor in that situation. If they were to take away the inheritance, people would start to believe that, well, yeah, those kids are just like I thought. Those aren't the real kids. Rhaenyra shouldn't be the queen. You know what? I'm going with Alicent. The King's Hand said that that's the king's last word, that he wanted Alicent to be the queen. You know what? And they have sons. That's what I'm going with. That's the way that situation could go down.
I know. And then from there, in that same conversation, in that conversation, we have that was Damon and Rhaenyra talking about what we just mentioned. Damon says, "Yo, do you think that Allison had anything to do with the disappearance of Harwin Strong and his father?" And Rhaenyra gives the benefit of the doubt of Allison, remembering the sweet, innocent Allison. She doesn't have it in her. Mm-hmm. Although we do know that Allison didn't have anything to do with it directly, but she definitely approved of what Larys planned out and made happen. So this is where we see that shift, where Rhaenyra believes that there's some good left in Allison, so everything should be cool. That's why she started to be at peace with her, and we see how that plays out in the future. Now, this is where we get to that part you've been referencing in today's discussion.
What part is that line?
Aemon looks for the dragon Vhagar. Vhagar is Laena's dragon, and he finally finds the dragon. He stares at the dragon in the face, tries to touch the dragon in order to bond with it, and finally says the magic words, whatever that meant, in order for him to
dragon
pair with the dragon and take the biggest dragon. I believe Vhagar is the biggest dragon at this particular moment in the series. This little kid that was made fun with the pig with the pink dread now claims the biggest dragon.
It goes on a joyride. Dude, he took your mother's dragon for a joyride. Of all the insulting things that you can do, the day that she was laid out to sea, that would be the number one thing that you could do. And as we said, but we'll go deeper this time. As we said, dude is like, yeah, I took your mama's dragon, and it was good too. Your mama's dragon has a new rider. Hold that. And her daughters, as well as the sons of Rhaenyra, weren't going to stand for that. Now, here's the thing that I love. He was whooping all their asses, right?
So from that scene, he gets confronted. Aemon gets confronted by the rest of the kids, and Rhaena tells her, "Listen, that dragon belongs to me. I should have been the one to claim it. He's like, why don't you do it?" So then we have Baela, Rhaena, Lucerys and Jacaerys all team up against Aemon, and Aemon wasn't having it. So a fight breaks out, and let's be honest, just like you mentioned, he was
He,
handing he
he
was
was
handing
whooping their
hands
ass.
left and
No
right.
lie, I'll say how it is. He was kicking their butt, and between the four of them, they really couldn't handle him, and they tried to gang up on him, and he still beat their butts, right? And then finally they threw in some trickery, because Amon said, "You're bad. You should be mourning too because your son died. Your father died, rather. And what are you talking about, Lord Harlan? He's your dad. You're a bastard. I
Or
took your mother's
Harwin, yeah.
dragon. Yeah, I took your mother's dragon. All this other stuff. So all bets are off. At we not blood no more.
As
You're
we were talking about, like
yeah."
Aemon has taken this role to be so loyal to go a full high tower. He's taking after he has that boldness of Damon, but he has that evil side of Otto
Yeah,
Hightower.
what's up? Just hair. How do you pronounce it? H. How do you
Just hair Burke.
BY? Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh?
just hair Burke.
Just hair Burke. That's what's up. Yeah. Definitely had it coming. Definitely had it coming. I mean, dude, you say all these things, somebody's got to lose an eye. And it was Aemon in his point in time. Let's
But look what it took. Look what it took for him to lose the eye. He stroked all the kids down. Everybody was like having a hard time. He was thrown on the floor. He gets up, pushes everybody. Because he was looking to kill, right?
yo,
And Sam had to be thrown in his face, and then just then he could be slashing in the face.
can I just say something? Like, because first he beats the boys' asses, right? And then the girls step up, and what does he do? He pushes the first girl, right? And then the second girl, she punches him in the face, and I'm like, yeah, get him. And then he turns right around and punches her back. I was like, damn, I was like, this kid is cold-blooded. There's something wrong with this kid, really. And then they all team up on him, knock him to the ground, and he's like, you know what? I'm tired of playing with y'all dudes. Y'all throws him off or whatever, and that's when they had to throw the sand at him and pull out the knife and then cut his eye. It's like, we're tired of dealing with you. We mean this. And that's when all hell breaks loose. We gotta talk about what happened in the king's court.
Before you go that further. So one quick sidebar comment here. That kick that Aemon delivered to, I think it was Jazeris, it reminded me of the Chappelle Show, and this is very off base, right? The Rick James episode. You remember that kick that Rick James got? Like he just flies through the air. He's like the glass. Like that's what that reminded me of. Like I don't know. I just considered it. I think it was hilarious. So that was a funny part of that particular scene. His just hair Burke says, "I thought the dragon ride was gonna take his eye. I guess he wasn't. Like I kind of knew because from my research before and I read." I already knew he only has one eye. All the pictures you look of this character, he only has one eye. But I didn't know how he lost the eye, and I guess it was in this confrontation with Lucerys.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I wonder how this is gonna pan out, because this tells you, or this shows you how able he is as a warrior, as a fighter. He's becoming really good at fighting, and I think he's gonna be one of the best knights or the best fighters in the series going forward.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Talk about disrespecting Lena. They just buried her at sea. Then her dragon is stolen. Then Damon and Rhaenyra immediately hook up. Not much grief going on there. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Let's talk
Damon
about
was laughing in the funeral.
Yeah, because we did. Yeah.
Struggling.
I think I thought that was like him having trouble grieving, right? Like people grieve in weird ways and stuff like that. I thought that was an issue that he had. However, yeah, you're right, Dash. Right at the funeral, he's hooking up with let's just say he's hooking up with his brother's daughter. She says, "I'm of age now. I'm good." And he hooks up with his brother's daughter, his niece, that night. That's crazy.
Let's not skip too much.
We'll come back to it, but yes, Dash, that is super disrespectful of Lena. But let's talk about actually, you know what? That happened before the King's Court incident, though.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that in a second here.
Hmm.
No,
What you
no,
got,
it's think
like?
that happened after. If I'm not mistaken, let me see here.
No. It happened before because that's when Dame.
Yeah,
That's
right
when.
at the beach. I think I may have skipped it.
Yeah.
So one quick thing I want to say about what you just mentioned. The reason I think Damon laughed or chuckled is because he took a look at Rhaenyra's kids and he noticed they don't look like Laenor. And when he noticed that, that's when he laughed. He's like,
Okay.
"Come
Okay.
on, man! These
She may
kids
have
are
missed
like
that.
they could
Yeah.
not be any more different." I think that's why he laughed. Yeah, at one point we have a scene where Damon and Rhaenyra are walking in the beach, and they finally Rhaenyra says, "Listen, it's always they embrace each other. She's not a kid anymore. They kiss, and we finally have the hookup
She.
that happens at the
She.
beach."
Yeah. She said, "Yeah, you left me to cope and to grow up by myself. What was I to do?" And he was like, "Look, what happened to me in those 10 years, right?" So they're sort of like try, trying to resolve the grievances and things like that. Like, I was expecting you to do something at the wedding, you did nothing, and I had to go on without you, and blah blah blah. And here we are, so yada yada yada. Then they reconnect, so on and so forth. And this happens all in the backdrop while the kids are fighting, which is a bigger thing because I'm going to bring it back, Lion. The kids' issues spill over into the king's court, and this becomes a bigger issue. She's desperate and scared. Yeah, absolutely. Rhaenyra will do anything she can to protect herself and her kids. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. That's exactly what's going on here. But but that's the same thing that Allison is doing, right? So who is winning? Who who's doing the best job, and so on and so forth, right? Who's justified? Who looks good in the court of public opinion, because it's happening in the king's court for everybody to view, right? And if we play it out, it starts off with a kid's dispute that the parents are trying to get justice for, right? My kid lost an eye. Well, your kid said things about my kid, and he beat up my kid, and so on and so forth. It sounds like a soccer match gone wrong at first, right? With some parents from opposing teams that don't like each other. But I think one of the most gangster moments is Aegon saying, "Dad, everybody knows I'm not playing this game anymore. Those kids aren't Laenor's kids. Those kids are Harwin's kids, and everybody knows what's going on."
Yeah, you got it. Hit it right in the head. So after the fight, the guards come in. They bring the kids to court, and this is where we had that confrontation.
Yeah,
Where Allison is like is mad that her son just lost an eye or was hurt by Lucerys, but Rhaenyra is upset that that Allison's kids are calling their kids bastards, right? So with this happening, she demands that Viserys gets an answer,
right.
which she clearly thinks, because she knows is the mom saying it. So she's trying to now use this as an opportunity to gain more favor with her dad and kind of put Allison in her place.
Exactly. That was, let's be clear. And actually, just here, Burke might be able to back me up. That was the only chip that she had to play, that Rhaenyra had to play at that time, and she was sort of iffy as to whether she wanted to play it or not, because she knew that that was a delicate topic, right? But she took a leap because she thought that her dad would go along with it, which was the biggest thing. If I can get my dad to make everybody else believe that this is an insult and is not true, then Allison will be at fault. She'll have to apologize to me in front of everybody else, and I will look better than her. But the kids don't back down, and Allison doesn't back down either.
Yeah, she's using this as an opportunity to put those rumors to bed, which kind of worked to her favor. And this is when Viserys commands Aemon. He commands this sweet kid Aemon. Let me put a picture of Aemon. I'm liking that character. I got something to say about the whole Allison and Rhaenyra once we finish this segment here. But let me just put a quick picture of Aemon up, because I think my dude, he was redeemed in this episode for sure, compared to to how he's been treated in the previous one. This is Eamon.
Hey,
Here we see him with two eyes.
Eamon came up in this episode. Eamon's on top. Forget about
last episode. It was made fun. He definitely came up, and I have something to say about them in a second. So, in this moment when the king commands him to say that, he looks at Allison, kind of confirming to a lot of people, yeah, Allison is the one saying it, and he says, Aegon told me, and then Aegon, totally gangsta. The one moment this guy shines, this guy's being a complete.
He's been an F up the whole time.
He's a mess up. He's just a loser in a way, and he just says that our Viserys King. Everybody knows. Everyone knows. Everybody can see it with their own eyes. Everybody's pretending the truth's not there.
I'm not playing its game no more. Bottom line.
And what does Viserys do? This guy, Viserys, just goes and says, you know what? Let me not push that issue any further, because even a blind man can see that these kids are not really who they're supposed to be.
No, he told the court that it's a lie. He said it's a lie, and anyway, and I'm going to put this to bed. Whoever believes this lie right now, they're going to have serious problems, because what does this do? This puts him in jeopardy. If people believe
Rhaenyra in jeopardy for sure, yeah.
Not just him. Think about this, right? Rhaenyra for sure, most immediately, but the king secondarily, because if people believe that he's feeble enough to just now realize that his daughter has been lying to him when the evidence has been right before his eyes in his old weakened state, they may start to take his power. They may stop believing in him. They may, they can start.
I think take his power, but I mean, he's been so weak throughout the season that I don't think
he has. But that's the last straw, right? Go ahead.
No. I think you're right at that point. He's so weak, and this just shows how ineffective he is. And the what he chose to do. You know what? If anybody mentions, let's put this to bed. We're all family. Let's unite the houses. If anybody mentions this again, we're gonna cut your tongue out. It doesn't matter who it is, right? So that everybody has to be quiet and kind of go back to their own place. And this is when Allison decides to blow up and says that she demands an eye for an eye. She wants to take one of the kids' eye, and the Viserys completely says no to this. And by him saying no, she just goes nuts and loses it. She makes a fool of herself, and this is when she attacks Rhaenyra, or she attacks someone in that camp. What do you think of that explosion that we saw there from Allison? This is the first time we really saw her lose her composure.
I first of all, I thought that reaction was very authentic. However, I think it was miscalculated. She already had lost that standoff. The king told her to stand down. She tried to go outside of him with Sir Christian, and Christian was like, yo, I ain't in this. And she had nothing else to do. But then she tried to take it into her own hands and go after Rhaenyra with the knife, which was a terrible move, right? Because that's the king's daughter. Anybody else, she would have been. It would have been
not just
good,
the king's daughter. She's the rightful heir to the throne. So she's attacking a future emperor or future king or queen.
Yeah, she was out of pocket for real. Plant base. Go ahead. Yeah, no, she absolutely right. But she's sort of, her anger takes control of her for sure, and she tries to take matters into her own hands. But I think the most important part about this is what we saw start to happen, where right after Allison cuts Rhaenyra, you start to see the whole room shift, and the room shifts into sides. That's what you see. You see green on one side. And then you see Rhaenyra's people, I think it's blue or whatever, on the other side, right? It was black on the other side. But you see those factions start to split because, as Jay-Z said, the blood is drawn, the love is gone. We no longer wear the same uniforms. Forget about, all, playing around and everything like that. We're at each other's necks now. That's the state of this affair right now. That's where we're at. I'm going for the throne. You're going for the throne. Only one of us is going to get the throne. And Rhaenyra feels vulnerable at that state.
Yeah, and this is I mean this really is setting the stage for the finale of the season. So we now have the two sides, the greens and the blacks are divided. You have we go from that scene to Otto telling Allison, I finally see the determination in you. Before you were too weak or you were too soft, but I now believe in you that you are in this to win it. That's very telling of that scene because last time Otto saw his daughter before he went away. You need to wake up, Allison, because once Rhaenyra becomes queen, your kids are the
Yeah,
biggest threat to her throne. She's gonna try to kill. You need to wake up. And this is when she was, much younger. Now that
it
she's
was like
older,
10 years
her
ago.
dad
Yeah,
tells her, "You finally listen. It took you many years, but you're finally there. You have the right mentality, and you could definitely win this. And put yourself in a place where you and yours will be ruling this after
and
the
the kids
season's
have the
done."
right
What do you
mentality
think
too,
of that?
which is huge. No, I think it's huge, and they're lining up for it. And we sort of see that in the previews of next week. Their kids have the right mentality. The daughter has the right mentality, which is their mother, as well as the grandfather Otto. They're all finally aligned that our position is in jeopardy. We need to get on the ball. We need to take some heads off, and by any means necessary, let's do this. That's what it's come down to, and they're all aligned with that. Sir Christian, he knows which side he's on now, right? And Damon, Rhaenyra goes
Uh,
and huh?
Mr. Bitter, Night of Bitter, Mr.
Who?
Salty, he's in the opposite.
Oh, Sir
The salty
Christian.
Kristen Cole. I
Yeah,
feel that Kristen Cole would be the guy that if Rhaenyra comes to listen, Kristen, I think we should definitely try this once again. Let's do it, Rhaenyra. I was so mad at you. He'll be that guy. He'll be that guy that will flip
yeah,
in a blink of
yeah.
an eye. I think that's
He,
what
he's
we
he's a
enjoy now.
clown in real life, but on TV, he can be a headache, or at least a thorn in somebody's side. But Rhaenyra feels vulnerability in that state when she's cut. She showed the world who Allison is, but she also feels vulnerability as far as strength and power to take the throne. She feels that the throne is really going to be challenged now, and that's when she enlists Damon. That's when she
No,
enlists
well, before
Damon.
that, we
Yeah.
have a conversation between Laenor and Rhaenyra. Laenor wakes up all wobbly from the night before. He knows how ineffective he is. He's realizing his situation, and he recommits himself to Rhaenyra to do what
Oh
he needs
yeah.
to do to be there for her where he really needs to be. He's gonna send his choir to the stepstones. He's just gonna be a good husband to her, how he should be, and we see how that plays out in the rest of the episode. Um,
Yeah. So
from there, we
the
see how sick. What?
No, the thought that came to mind on that one is like too little, too late. But they did plan that whole thing. I believe was planned, so that worked out in everybody's favor. But yeah, he couldn't play that role. That wasn't his role. Go on, Lion. The king's going to
So
die.
any death predictions?
Yeah, the king is dead next episode.
Aside from the king, because we know, I think the king's not surviving in the next episode.
Hmm.
But if we look at the characters we have, I think the next death of a major character is gonna be one of the kids, and that's really gonna fuel this fire that's gonna take things to the next level. I think one of the kids, I don't know which one. I will believe it will be maybe Aemon, or Aemon's gonna take somebody out because Aemon is like a loose cannon. I think that will be the next step. Maybe for episode 9 or the finale, we'll see one of those go away. Or Otto.
So
Otto could be one that is eliminated as well. What do you think?
so and Dash had said is he thinks Otto's going to go. I think Otto's a good character to go, but it's going to be after the king dies. And it'll sort of be like a retribution or like part of the fight for the throne. Maybe Damon eliminates Otto, but the king is. I'm almost certain that the king is gone because like in all of the previews, like every scene in the preview, they did not show the king. They show everybody else but the king, right? And Dash, why is the king, excuse me, queen, allowed to defy in the king in front of everyone, right? I don't know.
Because the king
But
is very weak. This is a very weak king.
yeah,
Anybody
no,
else?
that's a good answer.
You put Joffrey on there. You think Joffrey's gonna stand for that?
No, Joffrey would
King
have
Joffrey
her
will handle that.
And he would shoot her with the bow and arrow. And Joffrey wouldn't play that game. Yeah, no, you're right. Yes, because he's weak for sure. For sure.
That's what it is. And then we see how sick he is in the next scene where he's riding with his wife back. And then we see how Laris talks to Allison and offers his services to her. Listen, I am here for anything you need. I got it all. I got a full service. I got the works. Anything you want. And she goes, I don't need anything from you, because she knows this guy, if you're giving a hint, he's take everything. He'll kill everybody out, right? So she says, but I noticed your devotion. I noticed your devotion. That's that alignment. So now that we have the Greens on their side, they have Otto, the Hand of the King. They have Kristen Cole, the Lord Commander of the Knights of the Kingsguard. We have Laris, or I forgot what his title is. And then you have the kids as well on their side. So we have the Green Party is complete on that side and that scene. And that's what I meant.
Yeah. So
you missed Joffrey.
Lion, did you just say it? I may have missed it. Yeah, Joffrey was definitely a character. I especially love his poisoning. That was great. But Lion, did you say which side Corlys is going to be on?
I think Corlys will end up being on the side of Rhaenyra. Corlys, his kids are going to be there, his grandkids, and it's to his benefit that Rhaenyra becomes queen, because that means that his quote-unquote grandson will become king at some point, allowing the Velaryons to raise his stature.
Yeah, I think that gives more validity to their argument from the scenes earlier, right? Because out of the blue, the queen's like, I think that our inheritance should go to Lenora's kids, right? Or Lena's kids. Out of the blue. But now we see that actually makes more sense, other than, sure, she knows that the other kids aren't her kids or whatever, but that scene could have gone on without it ever being shown on TV, right? But it makes more sense now, because that flows through Damon, which means that they have to be assured that their inheritance will actually go to the kids, that their kids will be alive. So when it comes time to fight, they have to stand behind their kids. So they'll be on the side of Rhaenyra, like you were saying. It makes more sense now.
Now, after these events happen, we have a scene where Rhaenyra realizes the position she's in at this particular moment. She goes up to Damon, listen, you and I need to get married, because it's going to allow me to have a stronger claim to the throne. It's going to scare people off. I need your backup, right? But Damon goes, listen, in order for us to get married, that means that Laenor has to die. And they make us believe that this is the agreement that they fell into. So at this moment, we see that a scene where Damon pays the squire to do a job. And then we see that at some point, Damon eliminates a servant of the Velaryons. Now, that scene at first sight, it didn't make sense to me. Like, okay, well, why is Damon getting involved? Yeah, like, that didn't make any sense. Maybe he's just a guard allowing the squire to go in and handle Laenor. Laenor with servant, make sure that his servant's there, see his fight. Then when the servant goes get the guards, all we see is a burned body of someone. Yes, that we believe to be Laenor.
Yeah, and everybody else
believes to be Laenor, and then and because of these events, this is when we finally get the wedding of Damon and Rhaenyra Targaryen, finally uniting as they always wanted to be with each other. We have a quick picture here of that.
Yeah. Do you think that the king approved of the wedding?
I don't think they care about what the king thinks. This king is very weak. Again, like
Well,
I don't think
they definitely
think
don't
the
care.
king even knew at the beginning. To be honest with you,
Yeah, he may have not known, but I wonder what his thoughts are about that. To that effect, what his calculus is. Because I said it last week that I think that the king is so full of himself that he actually thinks that the kids are doing a good job, or excuse me, that the kids are his of his bloodline. Because otherwise that would mean that his kingdom is in jeopardy. His throne is in jeopardy if he's giving the throne to some kids that aren't of his bloodline.
no, the kid plant-based ministries. The kid was the king was not there. We see this little this section here, the picture. We have Bela and Reina. We have Luceris and Jacaris, and I guess I don't know who the person in the middle is, but that's the only people present were there. It was like a secret wedding in a way. I think they may have done this by secretly. That way, no one could have a say so or interfere until it was too late. That's my guess of what's happening there. Just in that section here. So, and then once that happens, we finally get a scene where Laner is alive. He just shaved his head and made everybody believe
that's right
that he was gone. So
he's able to live his life. He loves the sea. He wants to be out there with never mind. I was going to say the seaman, but he wants to be out there.
He's a seaman at heart.
Exactly. So that's his life thing. He was born by the sea. So it's all good. It's all good.
Now, the preview does show the time skip. We had a preview for the episode. They'll show the time skip, and we see that the kids are now grown, which is an interesting. It's gonna be interesting because we see a one-eye Aemon Targaryen, which I do believe I have a picture of here. Let me load that up for you guys.
He looks bold. He looks very, very bold.
He looks evil.
He has a chip on his shoulder. Exactly. He doesn't care. It's whatever, however you want to do it, we could do it.
Should I got a better way to show this here? Let's see here. So what do you think Aemon's role would be on the next episode, Mystery?
Aemon, I think that he's got the biggest dragon, so he's got a lot to show. Yeah, it's an ego thing. It's definitely an ego thing at this point because you said I wasn't anything. You guys brought me a pig dragon, and so now I'm going to take your spot. I'm going to claim hierarchy over you. I'm going to claim this throne too. I may challenge my big brother for the throne, but at the very least, my family's going to be straight. So all of Rhaenyra's family and all of her bloodline, they're in jeopardy. If I see him, it's on sight. And with my big brother and my sister, they know who runs the show. It's all good for right now. That's what I think I see of him. He's not taking any mess from anybody.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be the right-hand man for Allison and Otto. He's gonna be that rogue agent that's gonna just eliminate anyone. And if we see in this scene here from the preview, looks like he finally vested Kristen Cole. So he's become such a good warrior that he's become better than his own teacher. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? He looks evil. He just looks like a twisted guy in this scene here. This is from the preview of the next episode, by the way. So now I wanted we have One-Eye Aemon. So one thing I wanted to talk about now that we are going to the review, we talked about the preview. I'm excited for next week, certainly. But everyone online, and this is if you go on Twitter, if you look on different social networks, everyone's on Rhaenyra's side. Rhaenyra right now has become one of the most, if not the most popular TV character in the world at this particular moment, which is crazy. With the show that's only been running for a few weeks. You have characters from the Marvel universe like She-Hulk. You have Star Wars characters. You have Andor. And you have this new character becoming so popular that everybody cannot get enough of her, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody's upset at Allison. I'm conflicted because I feel Allison is somewhat justified to what she's doing. Everybody says that Allison is being evil, but if you put yourself in her shoes, Rhaenyra is already scared of her claim being challenged. As good as Rhaenyra can be, as we saw in this episode, she can be conniving, and she can do things to only benefit herself. So why isn't Allison should be worried if Rhaenyra takes control of the throne? What's stopping Rhaenyra from killing Allison and her kids and everybody else associated with them?
Here's a simple solution and a simple explanation. One, as to why everybody's on Rhaenyra's side, and two, as to how this problem could have been solved. And this problem could have been solved if Allison never seduced her best friend's father. She put herself in this situation. She was the wedge that is trying to split her friend from the kingdom, from the throne. She should have never followed her father's plan. She knew what was going on, which was to try to be the next wife, the next queen, or whatever. How do you think that's going to play out for your best friend, who's the princess? You know, but you put yourself in a situation. So now you're an enemy. That's friend and foe. You're a foe. Go ahead.
I have to disagree with you because, you know, she's a very good, because Allison at that time, Allison was a very good subject. The king was lonely and he needed a service. He needed somebody to be there for him, and he needed heirs. He needed
what type of service did he need, Lion?
A full service. He needed the works. He needed a number 8 with large fry and a large soda. So he needed
all the options, everything. All the fixings.
And she, as she said to Rhaenyra,
exactly,
she did her duty.
Exactly,
she didn't want to do it, but she had to do it, right? And she did it to her best of her ability. And she had no intention of hurting Rhaenyra or going for the claim of her throne. But Rhaenyra is opportunistic in a way. And he is pushing. She knows it's a world that's controlled by the male side. She already knows her claim is weak, and she did not want to back down from that claim. Like Rhaenys, look at Rhaenys. Rhaenys lost the ability to the opportunity to become queen, and she just bowed down, let somebody else take it. And Rhaenyra is not doing this because if we talk about what's good for the realm, if Rhaenyra takes the kingdom and people are not following her because they don't believe she's the rightful heir, should be a male, then that may cause some turmoil. That's not going to be a kingdom you may want to rule. You're going to have insurgencies. You're going to have people trying to take you out.
So you're saying that it was upon Allison to take charge and go and sleep with her best friend's father in order to have a male heir so that the kingdom is safe? Like anyone else could have done that. And
why are you blaming Allison though? Yeah. Like, listen, the king is his own man.
Her father said to go to his quarters and console him and wear that nice dress, one of those nice dresses that your mother used to wear, and all this other stuff. She's not naive. Women aren't naive in general, or whatever.
I wouldn't blame Allison for that, because the king is his own man. He's a grown man. He was grieving, and she was somebody caring for him. He doesn't have to marry her. He could have very well just, do whatever he had to do and move on with his life and get somebody else. The king was the one who shows that. Yeah, he was not forced to marry her. The king decided to marry her.
That wasn't Allison's objective at all. So she planted that seed in her ear or whatever. That wasn't the goal. That wasn't Allison's goal. That wasn't Otto's goal. The queen is dead. Here's your opportunity. Go and be the next queen. Your friend. She knew that her friend. Let's take it a step back, because she knew that Rhaenyra wanted the throne. She knew that Rhaenyra was qualified for the throne. They were lockstep with each other, right? And they were hanging out all the time.
I'm not sure she was so qualified, because up to a certain point, the only reason Rhaenyra became qualified is because Damon did so bad, so poorly, that he lost the ability to become heir. Because Damon was going to be the heir, and Rhaenyra was alive at that moment. So Rhaenyra essentially is pushing so hard to be queen that she doesn't care who she had to roll over, whether that was her uncle or anybody
So
else. She could always push back.
so let's say that what you call it, Rhaenyra wasn't qualified to be to rule the kingdom, right? To be queen and rule. Allison still knew that was Rhaenyra's dream. That was her ambition.
Yep.
So would you, if would you do that to your friend? You know that's your friend's ambition. You never had this ambition before in your life, Allison. She never dreamed of being a ruler, and she still doesn't. She wants her kids to be rulers, right? She never dreamed of that.
No. So the
Her
only
dad
reason
is the king's hand. She already has status. She's good.
the only reason she wants to be ruler is to protect her family, because she very well knows that
Now
Rhaenyra thinks that
she put herself. Yes, I agree. Now she does, because she put herself on the train tracks and she's worried about the train that's headed her way. When all you had to do was never get on the train tracks to begin with. Bottom line,
I
if you
think
never,
it's Viserys' fault at the end of the day, but I think she's being unfairly villainized. I think she let's see here.
Allison only did what her father wanted her to do.
She's a victim in all of this, in my opinion. And if we look at these pictures from episode 8, we have Allison looking very sad. We have Otto, we have Helena, we have Aemon, and then we have the brat Aegon Targaryen II. And this is the full Green Party here. I think she's a victim in all of this, and she's now adjusting. She's finally waking up to what she has to do, and I think she's being unfairly villainized. That's just my opinion on it.
Allison and Rhaenyra are both rotten. They started off okay, but now totally power hungry and okay with innocent people being killed. Yeah,
yes,
that's
what I'm getting to.
Yeah. Otto definitely put the battery in her back. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
She was put in a place that she's doing the best she could, and she was like, she turned on her father for Rhaenyra. This is how loyal this woman was. She turned on her own father and told him to Rhaenyra. And Rhaenyra always treated her. She was mad because her dad chose Allison. But Allison was she's caught in a position where she has to elevate her whatever situation it is.
Yeah, it's a primal position because it's about survival, right? Which was avoidable if she would have been great, right? She would have been good. Imagine being the friend of the queen, right? She would have been good in that situation. But now she elevated herself, right? So, but now she has to fight for survival because that platform is going away. And she doesn't know where she stands after that. That's an issue. So yes, I mean, they both have to fight to the death at this point. There's only going to be one survivor.
Highlander.
Yeah, and that's all it comes down to. And this is the way actual kingdoms were ruled. And when there was this much in question, that's what happened. And any person that had claims to the throne had to die. Bottom line. So that's what we're going to see. Otto is doing his best, but it may not work out. Who knows? I mean, what do we think is going to happen, Lion? I'm going to give you a prediction of what's going to happen. I think that Allison is going to take control of the throne. I think that through her father's help, they're going to be able to assume control. And at that point, you're going to have a fight on your hands, which goes into next season. You're going to have Rhaenyra and Damon and Corlys join forces and start a big war and go at Allison and her kingdom. And what happened in the beginning in the throne, where it said the only way that the House of the Dragons can fall apart is if they go at each other's throats or something to that effect or whatever. That's what you're going to see happen. What are your thoughts, Lion?
Now, yeah, that's actually, I think you're maybe dead on, but I have a feeling that what we're going to see is a divided kingdom. Two people claiming to be king or queen at the same time. Nobody's going to be legitimized, and we're going to have a big war. But what you just said is very, very likely. Now, from that, I want to refer to our poll. So I put a poll at the beginning of the episode, at least I thought I did. The poll, we have 5 votes on there, and it seems to be a deadlock. We have who won the episode. The choices were Eamon, Damon and Rhaenyra, or Laenor Velaryon. We have 40% going to Eamon, 40% going to Damon and Rhaenyra, and 20% going to Laenor. Let's see if we can be the the vote that splits it here.
Okay.
Who do you think won the episode, in your opinion?
In terms of power,
If anybody hasn't, by the way, if anybody hasn't voted, go ahead and vote so we can break this deadlock. We're gonna vote as well. And if you're watching, please don't forget to like, subscribe. We have plenty of videos and more lives coming too. So thank you so much for checking out our
you
video.
said Eamon, Damon, or
Rhaenyra.
Laenor. Or
So it's
Laenor.
Eamon,
Oh,
Damon and Rhaenyra, or Laenor.
Okay, that's what the third one. I think that it's Rhaenyra. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna give it to Laenor. I think Laenor is the only person in this episode that was freed from all this duty, all this mess. This man is gonna be able to go and be happy, travel the world with the person that he loves, and he doesn't have to deal with all this death and betrayal. I don't know if he'll come back in the future, but it looks like he wins, in my opinion, because he is freed from these responsibilities and what's coming. Because what's coming is gonna be pretty much hell.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. In some aspects, he definitely did win because he didn't want that burden to begin with. Yeah, he just wanted to be at sea, sailing. That's what's in his blood.
So with your vote, Damon and Rhaenyra win. So
Yep.
they won the episode based on that vote that you had. So now the very, very important question you guys can answer as well in the comments. Mr. E, what do you rate this episode? 1 being very poor, 10 being excellent, 5 is an average episode. So what do you think?
I'm going to have to bring out my varsity blue, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to have to bring it out again. And I rate this episode a 10. A 10. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the rest of it, but it's an absolute 10 because there was tension and more tension and tension to come, and somebody lost an eye, somebody stole a dragon, somebody died, another person allegedly died. There was so much stuff in here. Families were split apart. All of it was in here. What are your thoughts, Lion?
I'm conflicted because I enjoyed the episode, especially once the fight with Eamon started happening. Eamon became a pretty cool character in this episode. I'm giving this episode a 9. I really loved the episode. I think it was great. It started a little slow, but I am, again, as long as you keep me looking forward to the next episode, that's a winning episode to me. This show has not missed. That's why it got a 29 billion people watching, and we can see that the legacy of Game of Thrones has been redeemed with this show. I'm excited. I hope the rumors are true that we get a Velaryon show as well. That would be pretty interesting.
Word. Why not?
And some of the other shows they have, it's like 5 shows in development. There's one with the people from Dawn with the Princess Nymeria, who is going to be an interesting character. We have the Jon Snow show that's being developed.
That'll be good.
I mean, I'm excited to everything that's coming for this series. And the word is that the new season for House of the Dragon is going to start shooting March 2023, maybe a little earlier. Now, what this means to us is
later.
We either are going to receive a new season at the end of next year or beginning of 2024. Which will be very sad. Waiting 2 years, a year and a half for a show.
Now we're like terrible. The BBC where we get episodes every now and then.
The BBC. Oh.
Yeah, you remember how they would drop like 4 or 5 episodes, and then it would be 2-3 years, and then they drop some more episodes and blah blah blah. So yeah.
I mean, they that's how they did with like Eastbound and Down and those shows on.
No, Eastbound wasn't really Eastbound. I thought it was year after year. I thought it was sequential.
No, one of those. I think that the one just took a couple of years ago. And Curb Your Enthusiasm. They'll go off like 3 or 4 years. They'll come back.
But Curb they got like 8-10 seasons under their belt. I mean, shoot, yeah, it's different.
That says he gives it a 9 and he expects Laenor to return. I think it'd be pretty cool if we see Laenor come back, but I don't think that man's coming back ever. Nah,
he'll make cameos, but that about it. Yeah, and as for just Herbic, you said that you thought that the dragon was the reason that he would lose his eye. And it's funny because I was thinking like of what was it, a Christmas story or a Christmas tale where the kid wants the BB gun right? And they're like, don't get the BB gun. You poke your eye out. You lose your eye. And in this case, Eamon got a dragon, and the dragon caused him to lose his eye. So it's the same effect. In a way, you're right. You're right.
We didn't mention this, but Eamon was such a warrior. He says, "Don't worry, don't be sad for me, Mom. It was a fair exchange. I lost an eye, but I got the biggest dragon in this mother." That was like
gets the award twice for most gangster moment in the season. Shoot,
I can see the memes
as well as the season.
Straight gangster.
It's like, hey, Mom, I know you just cut this girl and all, and everybody's all mad and everything, but you ain't gotta worry about that. Hey, y'all got this. I got your dragon. What up?
By the way, I think that's gonna be it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for you guys sticking with us. We so appreciate it so much. You guys take time out of your day to check us out, or check us out on the replay. However you watch our show. We love talking about this stuff. We do this because we love it, and we love having people over talking about it with us. We got one comment here that came up. Let's see here. Damon is the wild card. Says plant-based mystery. Damon is the wild card, and he's definitely a key player in in this particular Game of Thrones, as we can call it. Then we have he took it like a G. He definitely is like, listen, I'll do time. It don't matter. I get my money. I get my dragon. I'm straight good.
His grandfather was excited about that. Hey, we appreciate the love. Just Arabic dash Plant-Based Ministries, Sharper Coder blog. We appreciate you guys chiming in on the chat. Hey, we'll be here next week. Feel free to drop in again.
Check us out. We have content coming to the week in the way of shorts.
We have it.
We're planning some more stuff. Our anniversary is coming up pretty soon. We're gonna have some nice surprises. Maybe some prizes. So that's gonna be exciting as well. So get ready. We got a lot of stuff coming, guys.
Yeah.
Other than that, Mr. E, you want to go ahead? Don't forget to like, subscribe. Go ahead, take us home.
Hey, we'll be here next week. You should be here too. Until that time, I am Mystery. This is Lion, and we are
Unstructured.
That's right. Later.